In this video, I'm going to explain how the American university system is set up to move players from university into the pro game. And this is directly from my experience of going over to the States, playing for 4 years and then signing my professional contract at the end of university. So if you're thinking about going over to America on a scholarship and want to potentially go pro afterwards and what the route could be for you, then this video is probably for you. So let's get into it. So I'm from the UK, and in 2015, after I finished my A-levels, I went over to America on a full-ride scholarship to play for Georgia State University, which is a Division I university in Atlanta, Georgia. If you're thinking about doing the same thing and are potentially using an agency that will help you get out there, then I do recommend clicking up here somewhere on a video that I've done on agencies. But 2015, I was 18 at the time, and my goal, like a lot of the players that go over to the States, was to play at university, get my degree, and then also try to play pro at the end of it. And the pathway is set up for players to be able to do that with the draft, and also a lot of pro teams actively recruiting and scouting the college game. It is very tough for international players to make that transition from university into the pro game. One of those reasons being that there's only a limited amount of spots for international players, and so often these pro teams prefer to scout players that already have experience in the pro game for those international spots, or for those international spots to be taken by players who are definitely going to be starters. And so this makes it tough for internationals, but not impossible. And if you're not an international and you're a domestic player, then it is a little bit easier to get spots on pro teams. So pro teams are actively scouting matches within the college game, and also the MLS have a draft system where the best players at the end of each year get put into a list, which are then eligible to be drafted, and the MLS teams then will do a draft of those players in the January after each season at university. So how did I get into the pro game, and what was my route? So each year you get a summer break from university, and so I would play with my university team all year, and then during the summer you have the opportunity to play at the time called PDL, which is now USL League 2, and also you had back then USPL, which are basically just semi-pro / amateur leagues where college players that want to continue to play over the summer play in, typically sort of the better players from college, and then sometimes pros who are out of contract will drop down and play into that league as well. And the league is basically meant to be a feeder league. It's now called USL League 2, and so it's one below USL League 1. And so this is a really good opportunity to play and get your name out there. Again, there'll be scouts there, and a lot of these pro teams have their reserve team or their youth team play in these leagues. And so there's opportunities that come from doing that. So each of the 3 summers after my first, second and third year, I played in this league. And often when playing with your university, a lot of it comes down to how well you do sort of in your second last year and also last year, as pro teams know that the majority of players will want to finish their degree before signing a professional contract. And so the better you do in your last year, the more actively that pro teams are scouting those last year players from university. And so having a very good year in that last year, or your team doing really well and going to the national tournament, can really help showcase you as a player and increase your chances of getting scouted. The second thing that can help is the connections from your university team with pro clubs can help a lot, because your manager or your coach at university can reach out and connect with those pro clubs and recommend you to them, which in my case, an opportunity came up with Atlanta United in the summer before my last year, where I got the opportunity to go and train with their second team just before going back to pre-season with my university. So again, increasing my profile as a player and also showcasing myself to Atlanta United was a really good opportunity. But a lot of that came from connections from the university. Again, during my last year, we went to the national tournament, and in the first round, we got knocked out. But off the back of that, I got invited to a combine. And these combines are put on by pro teams, where they'll invite players, they'll play matches with these sort of trialists, these players, and scouts or pro clubs will come to these games and watch. but you'd only get selected for those combines if you've done well in the matches you've been playing for your university. But again, another opportunity to break into the pro game. Of course, there's also then the MLS draft, which I was put on the list. There was only a select few international players that year on that list. I wasn't drafted, but again, increase the profile of my name, which can always help with smaller clubs seeing that you're on that draft list or see that you're available for it is something that they might look for. And it was at one of these combines at the end of my senior year in December, November time where the club I signed for were watching. And then I went to pre-season with them in the March time and ended up signing my professional deal. So the pathway is there into the MLS, the USL Championship and the League One from university. The biggest key takeaways from my experience with college trying to make it into the pro game is play over the summer. When you get opportunities, take them. And when you go to combines or trials, make sure you play well, but also just make sure you play well. I think whatever level you're at, whether Division 1, Division 2, a top university or not a top university, if you play well and you perform and you stand out, then opportunities will come your way. And if you take those opportunities, anything can happen. It is tough, of course, and it's even tougher for international players, but the pathway is there for you to make it pro if you perform well. If you found this video useful, then please do like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And if you want a video on a different topic or something else, then please do comment below and I will do a video on that.